Welcome to Ag Life, the year in review, as we look back at the growing season of 2017. I'm Gerard Lampow. Well, the year started with some producers across Alberta and Saskatchewan still trying to get crop off in the spring as harvest 2016 was stalled by snow in October. Overall, a healthy growing season once it got going, as spring moisture with late snow kept many producers in the Midwest waiting for fields to clear. Then, with prices for grain being moderate and beef still going strong, producers rallied to get at her. But what was the slow start for some was a no-show for others. While southern Saskatchewan was dealing with a record-breaking drought, northern Alberta had the complete opposite problem, with the MD of Bonnyville dealing with extensive flooding. Brian Lentz fills us in on the wet season.
When you started in the spring seeding, we were way behind and there was water everywhere, and it was just hard to get the crop in.
And that was kind of the start, but then it's never stopped raining since then.
To put it simply, it's been a record-breaking year in the MD of Bonnyville. Already, 150% of the average annual rainfall has landed in the area.
A wet fall, a wet spring, and continued rainfall means that the slough behind me has expanded to 5 times the size, flooding over many farmers' pasture land.
It's flooded so the plants die. So even if those watered spots that have water dry up, it still won't produce anything.
It's estimated that 30% of pastures, 20% of hayfields, and 15% of cropland has been flooded this year. Some farmers not even getting out into the field this spring to seed. All of that means that producers are facing a loss of $5.6 million this year.
Barry Kalinsky is a farmer in the region and says it was even a struggle to get his equipment in the field that wasn't underwater.
And then when it got seeded, it was seeded kind of into the mud. So it might look okay, but the bushels aren't there.
The MD says they have applied for disaster assistance from the province, but other than that, their options are limited.
We have to, use our measures as wisely as possible. So try to keep the water moving as quickly as possible, but it will never amount to anything where these farmers can use these fields this year.
He says the MD is looking at ways to keep the water flowing as efficiently as possible without harming the environment. But in the meantime,
if you see someone having a hard time, encourage them. And it can get very depressing, especially if you have so many acres of hay down or whatever, and then it gets rained on. Just a nice word once in a while would be great.
Brian Lentz, Newcap News.
And the financial challenges of the late harvest of 2016 were weighing on producers ahead of spring. In fact, as a representative from a local financial agency tells us, well, she's now addressing producers' options.
We're lucky for the most part in the Lloydminster region. The large part of our members were able to get their crop off. But in the southern part of the province towards Kindersley, we have a significant part of our membership that maybe is only 85 to 90% complete.
So what with a producer in that scenario, what are they dealing with right now financially? Let's start there.
Well, with unharvested crop and field, obviously there isn't the income there that you can sell your crop. So we're encouraging people to be proactive is our biggest message. They need to talk to us, and we're more than willing to help. Each case is completely individual.
What would be some of the general things we're looking at to help them out?
Some of the common ones would be cash injections, bulges on their existing operating loans, looking at extending out amortizations or restructuring all of their credit altogether, or potentially deferring some of their principal payments. The quality definitely won't be there. It's already deteriorated significantly. There are other options available. The Canadian Canola Growers Association has extended their cash advance to March, so there's access there whether the farmer had applied earlier or not. That would give them some access to cash quite quickly, along with other options we can consider for cash injections and those kinds of things at Synergy.
Right. So it's just a matter of looking again at individual situations and just assuring folks that all is not lost. There's still a few options available then.
Yes, absolutely. And really the beauty of most farmers is they're resilient. They've seen it all. What's happened this past year is kind of potentially a once-in-a-lifetime thing with how long harvest dragged on. It was a bumper crop, probably the second largest Canada's ever seen, and to see it sitting out there not being able to get at it is extremely depressing. But we always find ways to work with them, and we'll continue to do that.
Well, calving season is a time of high risk for disease on a cow-calf operation. With the wet spring, we got some important reminders from a vet.
Scours is sort of our #1 challenge that I'm sure everybody at some point has seen or dealt with. Some of the other major ones would be septicemia, which often those ones, they may look a lot like a severe case of scours.
Also topping the list is pneumonia and joint and navel infections. Dr. Claire Windier is a veterinarian and a professor at the University of Calgary. She says producers need a clear game plan ahead of calving season.
Vaccinating your cows, ensuring good colostrum management, providing bedding for those calves so they can stay warm and dry. All those things take planning ahead of time.
Dr. Windier says disease risk comes from a triad that includes the pathogen or bug, the host animal, the calf, and the environment, which also includes the weather.
Pathogen risk factors would be so you have a certain bug, bacteria or virus within your herd. And often a lot of the things that cause calf disease are there all the time. And so it's more the other two parts of the triad that we worry about. So the host risk factors are things like, does that calf not get enough colostrum? Was it a tough calving? Did it get born into a snowbank?
Dr. Windier says the biggest difference between herds that manage their calf health well and other herds is planning ahead, as it allows producers to mitigate all three risk factors.
The effort to wean healthy, heavy calves, that really gets started a long time before calving season and before these calves are getting sick. So thinking about all of the things between when you breed those cows till there's calves on the ground till weaning.
Dr. Windier also points out how your planning needs to be dynamic so that it can evolve as calving season unfolds.
And then planning as you go into your calving season, sort of what are our goals, and then from that thinking about what are our protocols, what's our approach.
Well, when we come back, we get a look at the economic picture. Ag Life, the Year in Review will continue after this break. Do stay with us.